One of Prince Charles's key men is the Canadian Maurice Strong. Maurice Strong is a top Illuminati operative and head of many world organizations. He's been under Secretary of the UN for many years. He headed up that Rio Summit, World Conservative Bank, World Economic Forum, United Commission on Global Governance. He's also chairman of the Earth Council and the World Resources Institute, and has been a top player in planetary citizens, the World Future Society, Aspen Institute, which basically is the Tavistock Institute gone American, the Business Council of Sustainable Development, Lindisfarne Association, World Federation of United Nations Associations, the Club of Rome, and about 30 other major organizations, to name but a few, in its powerful connections. To give you some idea of Prince Charles's influence, he's behind 3 of the most important documents of the last decade. The United Nations Global Security Program. He personally initiated the United Nations Global Security Program. The 7-year Oslo Accord. The Rio Summit's Agenda 21. Up until recently, he headed the United World Colleges. He's credited with instigating alternative medicine with the success of the 1982 Earth Summit in Rio de Janeiro. And according to an article which appeared in the London Times July 15, 1998, titled Charles and the Tony Show, many people, citizens of Britain, believe and became concerned about Prince Charles meddling in the daily politics, the daily political affairs of Tony Blair government. To quote the article, Charles' involvement is causing considerable controversy in certain British quarters, who claim that he is overstepping the bounds of political allowable behavior by a member of the royal family in daily political events. Remember now, it was Tony Blair who sent British troops in, and it was Tony Blair who sided with George W. and vehemently backed him on the invasion of Iraq. And now there's even been an inquiry questioning whether Tony Blair was correct or not. I'll tell you now that Tony Blair is covering up for Prince Charles, who told him to do exactly as he did. In the early 1990s, representatives of Israel and the Palestinians were invited to a secret meeting in London, during which it was decided to try to have secret negotiations in Oslo, Norway. The Israelis were represented by Yitzhak Rabin, if you'll recall, and the Palestinians were represented by King Hussein of Jordan, both 33rd degree Masons, may I add. The third party at that meeting was Lord Victor Mishkan, also a 33rd degree Freemason, and personal attorney for Prince Charles. I believe they're at it again, giving a deadline of 12 months to come up with a 2-state solution in the Middle East. This time, with a very high-ranking Mason, George Mitchell, directly involved. Remember, he was the guy who brokered the deal between Ireland and England and got the IRA to park all their guns. And everybody thought that was mission impossible, but it got done. You see, when the very high-ranking Freemason George Mitchell is involved, things happen. When they see George walk into the room, they go, they're serious. They want it done. And it's even unspoken. An unspoken message. Space back with more in a moment. On A View from Space on AM640.
Deprogramming the brainwashed simply by uncovering the truth. He's the Spaceman with A View from Space on AM640.
I'm the guy that calls Space. This is View from Space on AM640. I'm still getting those help me emails. Been all show, all evening long, as the 640toronto.com live audio streaming is down. Just had my first email from Denver, Colorado. complaining, where the hell are you? At least I found out there's people in Denver listening. Another lady fears that I'm being blocked going into the United States this evening. So starting to find out for the people that don't usually communicate with the show by email that there are a lot of people that are missing tonight's show in other countries and in other parts of Canada. And the emails that I've received over the last year or so, people in other countries also that are cut off tonight. This is the final segment, by the way, of A View from Space on AM640. Prince Charles attended the funeral of Yitzhak Rabin. And within 2 hours after the funeral, according to the Jerusalem Post, Prince Charles was in Prime Minister Sharon Peres's office insisting that he attend a meeting at the Orient House, the Palestinian sector of Jerusalem, to begin negotiations to give back the Golan Heights to Syria. An article appeared in the Sunday Mirror, August 31st, 1997, only hours before Princess Diana was actually assassinated at that tunnel in Paris. It was titled, "Queen to Strip Herods of Its Royal Quest." To quote the article, Prince Philip in particular has made no secret as to how he felt about his daughter-in-law's latest man, referring to Dodi Fayed as the oily bed hopper. He's been banging on about his contempt for Dodi, and how he is undesirable as a future stepfather for William and Harry. Diana had been told in no uncertain terms about the consequences should she continue the relationship with Dodi Fayed. Options must include a possible exile, although that would be very difficult, as when all is said and done, she is the mother of the future King of England. Just to catch you up on what's happened to the Fayeds, Dodi's father, who owns Harrods in London, was fighting and screaming like me, conspiracy. It was an assassination. It was a murder. His son was murdered. And, of course, to no avail. Never got much done, spent a lot of money. And finally, just a few weeks ago, Mr. Fayed has sold Harrods and left London. A beaten man. You can't stand against him. According to Prince Charles, he said, quote, "I am sure that many people consider that the United Kingdom is an ideal geographical and historical position to act as an interpreter and mediator between the United States and Europe. See, to truly understand Charles, it's important to understand his father, Prince Philip. He's a eugenicist who wants to reduce the population of this planet from the level of what we're at and get rid of about 5 and some billion people, to knock down our population on planet Earth to about 1 billion. And he wants this done within the next couple of generations. To quote Prince Philip, "In the event that I am reincarnated, I'd like to return as a deadly virus in order to contribute something to solve overpopulation." And Philip, of course, is off to a flying start. He's the head of the World Wildlife Fund, an organization whose policies are not only responsible for the extinction of many species of animals, but also for the deaths of literally millions of sub-Saharan Africans. Although Philip pretends to be a champion of endangered species. In January of 1961, a few months before he would launch the World Wildlife Fund with his buddy Prince Bernhard of the Netherlands, Prince Philip went on a royal tour of India, where he not only shot and killed an Indian tiger, but also an exceedingly rare Indian rhinoceros. Only 250 were left in the world, but that didn't stop Philip from shooting one. The dead rhino's terrified calf managed to escape, but probably died later as it was too young to survive on its own in the bush. Prince Charles may seem like a wimp, but he's quite an athlete, you know. An expert horseman, qualified jet fighter pilot, and a senior military officer in all three branches of the armed services. And some of the rumors that have dogged Charles over the years include homosexuality, adultery, occult practices, spiritualistic worship. No one else on earth has the religion, political, financial, historic, and other ties that Charles has. No one. He stands alone. Prince Charles' media exposure has exceeded that of any other man in history, too. Only the true Antichrist can fulfill every biblical prophecy, without exception, related to the Antichrist. Daniel 9:26 and 27 clearly states that the Antichrist must be a prominent ruler, presumably a prince of Roman lineage. Charles is going to be the Antichrist. He should receive a fatal head wound soon, sometime in the near future. A fatal head wound, of course, from which he will miraculously recover. Yes, there's a silver thread that weaves its way through history and has been for millennia, disappearing occasionally to emerge in a stronger, brighter form. It's known as the royal silver thread. This royal silver thread may be Charles, it may be Arthur, it may be either of them, the warrior king and his world of chivalry, romance, loyalty, fear, betrayal, and death. The weaver of this silver thread, the storyteller in his imagination. To follow the thread would require a journey through Europe and beyond. From humble Celtic firesides to the courts of medieval kings and queens, through industrial Victorian England to the modern world. At the hands of early Welsh writers, to Geoffrey of Monmouth at Oxford, Chrétien Latour in France, Wolfram von Eschenbach in Germany, Mallory in England, Ariosto in Italy, Cervantes in Spain, and on to T.H. White, Marion Zimmer Bradley in the United States of America, and Bernard Cornwell, to list just a few. The rich tradition of romantic narrative has grown. These are the men that I've just named that are perpetuating this myth. This false truth. This lie. That a Christ is coming and will save humanity. A man will declare himself God from the Merovingian bloodline of sorcerer kings. This has been A View from Space on AM640. Coast to coast, it's next, and I'm Space. I'm out.